Everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do.
This is the kind of pushback Caitlin Clark's fans had been begging to see from her teammates, and in Sophie Cunningham, they got even more than they expected because Sophie wasn't just Caitlin's enforcer, she became every fan's loudest voice and Kathy Engelbert's biggest headache. Let me explain. As the 2025 season went on, Sophie's tolerance for the league's nonsense hit zero. Every hard foul on Caitlin, every cheap shot the refs ignored, every fine the league slapped on her, none of it shut Sophie up. Instead, she doubled down on the referees, the media, her old teammates, even the league itself. Nobody was off limits. And here's the part that should terrify the WNBA. This is only the beginning. This video breaks down Sophie's evolution from Caitlin's enforcer to the WNBA's worst nightmare, with every moment getting bolder and more satisfying. But first, like this video and drop your favorite Sophie moment in the comments.
Just the competitor that I am. I'm fierce, I'm sassy, I stick up for my teammates, stick up for myself, and so sometimes I think that's okay to be feisty and to be yourself.
What Sophie said turned out to be an understatement. When she joined the Fever, fans were hyped because this team badly needed what she promised: feistiness, a deterrent to the constant cheap shots aimed at Caitlin Clark. But Sophie brought more than just fire. She brought something fans recognized immediately: authentic loyalty to Caitlin.
I mean, you know, she has changed our game in the best possible way in every way.
And in the WNBA, that was rare. After a season where the media downplayed Caitlin's impact, the refs refused to give her a fair whistle, and even Nike dragged its feet on promotion. It was refreshing to finally hear a player speak the truth. Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA. She's transforming it. And that honesty made Sophie public enemy #1. It didn't take long before other players started testing her in the preseason. We got our first glimpse of Savage Sophie against the Mystics rookie Kiki. Finn took her down, and Sophie stood right up and basically said, "Don't you ever try that again."
Look, you go down into the trees and things happen, and Kiki or Finn right there, they had an extra little shove, and she's just like, what I do? Well, you kind of grow up, and then Sophie Cunningham pops right up and has a lot to say.
That preseason moment was just an appetizer, a teaser for what the rest of the season had in store, because if a rookie could take down a vet like Sophie with zero fear, what chance did Caitlin Clark have? It was open season on the Fever, and Sophie's role was about to become crystal clear game after game. The whistle stayed buried in the refs' pockets. Caitlin got hammered with no calls, while other players got away with murder. It was 2024 all over again, and finally Sophie had enough. June 17th. Commissioner's Cup Fever versus Connecticut Sun. The officials let the game spiral out of control. First, J.C. Sheldon swiped at Caitlin's eyes, then Marina Mabrey crushed her with a body shot. No ejections, no protection, no accountability. And that's when Sophie Cunningham snapped. What she did next instantly became legendary among Caitlin Clark fans. For them, it was pure catharsis.
Mabrey. That's a flagrant foul. It's a hard foul. You could say it's a play on the ball, but...
Finally, some retribution. After months of watching Caitlin get hacked with no protection, Sophie delivered the payback: a headlock, a shove, and a simple dare. Do something. Up to this point, Sophie had always been fiery, but this was different. This was the switch flip. From that moment on, she played with zero FS to give. And it didn't stop on the court. At practice after the game, reporters asked about the altercation, and Sophie made it crystal clear. This wasn't about one play or one game. It was about something bigger.
During that, it was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so, at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do, and I'm a team player, so it's all good.
Sophie had watched Caitlin Clark's mistreatment from afar. Now she was living it firsthand, and she'd had enough. That moment cemented Sophie Cunningham as a household name.
They bring in Sophie Cunningham. I had no idea. Sophie Cunningham was a black belt at the age of 6.
Yeah.
Yep. Boom! Wow. I love it.
She was the one who finally defended Caitlin Clark, and what happened next was the ultimate display of the Caitlin Clark effect. Fans embraced her instantly. Her jersey sold out in minutes. Her social media blew up with millions of new followers, and Sophie leaned right into it. She dropped a TikTok with a Selena Gomez track, a wink to the J.C. Sheldon takedown, and it went mega viral. Her comments were flooded with one message: thank you for standing up for Caitlin. It was a multi-million-dollar moment. Overnight, Sophie went from role player to one of the most marketable names in the league, but with every new fan came just as many enemies. The media slammed her retaliation on JC Sheldon while staying silent about Mabry's hit or Sheldon's swipe at Caitlyn. A Change.org petition even popped up calling for her removal from the league for unsportsmanlike conduct, and then came the WNBA fine $400. At this point, Sophie stood at a crossroads. She could have stayed quiet, let the heat fade, and gone back to being just another scrappy role player. But she didn't. From that moment on, every soundbite got sharper. Every clip more savage, every word more unapologetic. This wasn't just Sophie Cunningham playing basketball anymore. She chose war, and that was the point. She became the WNBA's worst nightmare. Just 5 days after the JC Sheldon incident, Sophie showed up pregame in a Barstool Sports trace Letch's shirt featuring her Caitlyn and Lexi Hull. It was another clear signal of where her loyalty stood, shoulder to shoulder with Caitlyn, and it absolutely infuriated certain corners of the WNBA. Trace Letch's 3 milks was interpreted as a reference to the Fever's 3 white players. Sophie knew exactly how the shirt would be received, and she wore it anyway, and she was far from done.
Man, I don't know how excited people are to be going to Detroit.
On July 1st, Sophie took direct aim at the WNBA, ripping its expansion plans instantly. Cities like Detroit and Cleveland went into a frenzy. She was criticized from every angle: media, fans, even league insiders. For a brief moment, she tried to walk it back, saying her comments had been taken out of context. But here's the thing, when you're dealing with the mob, there's no point in backing down. So Sophie did the opposite. She went even further, saying the quiet part out loud that everyone agreed with her. They were just too afraid to admit it.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I am someone who says what everyone else is thinking or talking about, not just with the refs,
Did you post
but
that
with
after
Detroit,
after you guys lost?
with Cleveland. I want people to hear what I just said. I am the only one, but if you ask our league, they feel the same exact way.
The league feels the same way about the refs as you?
And Detroit and Cleveland.
Yeah.
And
Do
so
you want
now,
to give it one more shot?
no, because
Okay.
I said what I had to say.
You go on.
And I'm not going to apologize because I fully believe that. Don't tell me that Detroit is more fun than Nashville.
And this quickly became the trend. Sophie was the one unafraid to say what everyone else was thinking, and it didn't take long for the fines to start piling up. On July 18th, she posted a TikTok lip-syncing to a Sabrina Carpenter song, not so subtly calling out the refs for being stupid and useless. The post blew up, over 1 million views in just hours. Fans loved it, but you know who didn't? The WNBA. They slapped her with a $500 fine, and honestly, that number was laughable for most WNBA players. $500 is a decent chunk of their salary, but for Sophie, with endorsement money pouring in, $500 was nothing. How Caitlyn probably covered it with a fraction of the $11 million she pulled in during 2024. So instead of shutting her up, the WNBA only made her louder, because less than 2 weeks later, Sophie cranked it up another level. On July 30th, she launched her new podcast, Show Me Something, and from the very first episode, she didn't hold back. This wasn't just a podcast, it was her platform to expose the W.
You have seen players in our league try to toughen up Caitlyn. You call her CC. For even when I wasn't on her team, I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of no, we're gonna prove her, we're gonna show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And I get it to a certain extent. And every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're gonna treat them. But there's just more for her. So it's her second year. And now being on her team and seeing it, I'm what are people doing? Actually, it's just too much. And it's just, I'm over it. And if I'm saying it's too much, then it's probably too much.
No, that's so fair.
That's fair, right?
Yeah.
From the very first episode, it was clear no one was safe. She went straight at the league, calling out the abuse Caitlyn was taking and even referencing her old teammates. She said it outright. The chippiness, the cheap shots, the abuse on the court, it was 100% because of Caitlin Clark, and she didn't stop there. She turned her fire on the refs, saying that in the Sun game, they completely lost control and that Marina Mabry should have been tossed.
There's a couple players on their team that are just do a little bit extra stuff, just chippy talking. You're a professional athlete, that's what happens, right?
And I feel like you see it more because people act like this towards Caitlyn.
Yes, 1,000%. So in the first half, the refs didn't call. Someone should have been thrown out, and the refs did not call it.
Correct, I remember that.
They didn't, and so I was all right.
She got full body chested.
By 3 people.
Yeah.
2 people, and they're oh, it's fine. I'm if that was anyone else, I would have been booted out of the game. I know that for sure. I'm a little sassy, but like, so are they.
Your leash is shorter though, because they know.
Literally, I don't even have a leash. I just have a freaking collar and a hand on it.
And then came this Sophie dropped a bomb not just on the players, but on the media, the owners, and anyone in the league who disrespected Caitlin Clark.
Damn it.
No, I think that's what from what I've seen.
Yeah, what
in the
is
media,
the outside? Like the outside
the
view of the
discourse is
W?
like, why bully the person who is like not 100% responsible, but like has a huge role in growing your sport?
Dude, and it literally like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
Sabrina? No.
No, there's really good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah to that. I'm all for that. But when people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit.
Yeah.
You're literally dumb as fuck.
And after that, she went straight at the refs, a direct targeted attack, essentially daring the league to fine her.
And I get it, because if I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What call are you like bugged out?
All of them.
Everything?
Like, it's just like they're just so inconsistent. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you're on the other team and you're going to be finding the shit out of me,
yeah.
Cool. But let me do it to you.
Let you, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Want
Like,
consistency then.
yeah, like just give. And I think that players across the league and like new fans across the country, like everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do shit.
And on August 5th, Sophie revealed the league had hit her again, this time with a $1,500 fine.
We were talking about like our first week, what people had to say. Well, the WNBA fined me for
No! You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. It's like, you're kidding.
Way.
I was like, I even told them, I even credited them that their job was hard. I did say that, and I said that I would not be good at it. I did say that. Like, look at the whole picture. What are we doing?
But just like she promised, that fine did nothing in that same podcast. She called out former teammate and mentor Dana Bonner over her ugly exit from Indiana just 2 days before facing her in Phoenix.
She's towards the end of her career, so like, she deserves her flowers. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're gonna leave, like, you're gonna have to expect getting bit.
Was there explanation when it happened? No. Not even privately? That's tough. And, yeah, okay.
Who knows what was said behind closed doors around that Fever Mercury game, but what followed made one thing clear: Phoenix was not happy with Sophie's comments. And this was her way of saying politely, but directly, "You're dead to me."
Earth assassin opponent tonight.
Yeah, you know, AZ was good to me, but I'm way happier where I'm at now. It was good to see people. It was fun to play in front of some fans. But for me, I'm way happier in Indiana.
But then she went full savage mode. Her next move broke one of the unspoken rules of the WNBA. She went after the refs and their white glove treatment of Paige Buchers on her August 13th podcast. Sophie tore into the officials, saying Paige was getting outrageous special treatment. She didn't sugarcoat it. She didn't hedge. She flat out said it and absolutely destroyed them for it.
Do not get me wrong. I think, like, again, I think she's a hell of a player and like would love to play with her one day. But those refs were giving her every freaking whistle last night. Like, you literally couldn't touch her. And that shit is so annoying to me.
Sophie wasn't afraid to call out what fans had seen for a long time, a wild double standard. Because here's Caitlin, the face of the league, still getting hacked with no protection deep into year 2. And here's Paige, a rookie, getting superstar treatment from day one. It was the kind of respect Caitlin should have had from the start. And Sophie was the one bold enough to say it out loud. And like clockwork, the league responded the only way it knows how: she got slapped with yet another fine.
Hey, another thing, I don't know why this reminded me of just like games, you asking about Bria, but I'm officially 3 for 3 on being fined by the WNBA.
Holy shit. For this? For the pod? Again?
They didn't like my comments on Paige Buchers.
No way.
I didn't even say anything bad.
Now Sophie's out for the season with an MCL injury. There won't be any more on-court altercations in 2025. But what she did while she was on the floor, what she saw, what she lived, created a platform. Sophie is the example of how the W should have handled Caitlin Clark. She understood her value, she celebrated it, and she defended her at every turn. And with Caitlin's popularity already transcending the entire WNBA and a fan base that's been called every name in the book, Sophie quickly won their hearts. She became their bullhorn, saying out loud what they had been thinking all along about how the league treats its biggest draw. That's why her platform isn't like the others. It's pro women's basketball, but not pro WNBA. It's not built to polish the league's image. It's built to challenge it, the leadership, the referees, the players. And if anything, it's only going to get louder because the fines mean nothing every time the league tries to hit her. She just amps it up, and that's the WNBA's worst nightmare. A charismatic player that casual fans actually love, defending Caitlin Clark at every turn, calling out the league with zero fear. And the truth is, the WNBA brought this on themselves until they start protecting players, especially the face of the league. Sophie will keep calling them out. If you're still here, drop a trophy in the comments because you're a winner for sticking it out to the end.